Hi guys, Christina Wolf here, and it is another week for our weekly card pull party. And I'm gonna see if a couple people pop on here. Right now I am in the midst of fighting off a migraine that's trying to start. So I am using some aromatherapy with peppermint essential oil and lavender essential oil. And the two of them together are helping out quite a bit. Hello, if you're just coming on, and introduce yourselves. Thanks for being here, guys. I was just saying I'm fending off a migraine with essential oils. So hope everybody's week was good last week. And ooh, you're here with no Wi-Fi. Oh, well, you were able to get on though, right? That's good. I'm happy you're here, Deb. Welcome. And anybody else who's just coming on. Hope your week was good last week. And for this coming week, I hope that if your week was anything like mine, then for the past 2 weeks, this coming week will be a little bit of a reprieve, I'm hoping. And then I wanted to do what I did with last week with the animal cards. I did, okay, Deb would like a card. Awesome. Cool. And if anybody else is popping on and you'd like a card, let me know. Because I'm going to pull cards for anyone who asks. But let me know if you want an animal card or the herbal tarot card. And I'll get the one you'd like. But I wanted to talk a little bit. Last week, those of you know, I was working out of town on a trial that was what we call a change of venue. I am here in Bexar County, Texas, which is where San Antonio is. And in San Antonio, we had an attorney who was charged with continuous trafficking of persons. And some of you who've come on here, you know that I was the bailiff for that court case. Well, this Friday, they finally, a jury of his peers found him guilty of 6 counts of continuous trafficking of persons and sentenced him to 80 years in prison. So it was kind of a heavy week for me, but and the other thing that I wanted to mention was then this weekend, yesterday and today, I was able to do some work on my upcoming interview series called Discovering the Empowered Self, a healing journey from early childhood trauma. And hello, Bethany. Ooh, an herbal card. Okay, so Deb would like an animal card, and Bethany would like herbal tarot. Okay, perfect. And anybody else, let me know what you'd like me to pull for you. So I was working on those interviews, and it's going to be coming out in June, and I'm really, really excited because I was just totally called to just add at the last minute that I decided I wanted to charge for the replays of all of the interviews because there's going to be 40 interviews, but I want to offer those interviews or the proceeds from a portion of the proceeds from those interviews to our Child Safe unit and to help them. The Child Safe organization here in San Antonio is the nonprofit human services organization that we use to help with victim advocacy when we have child neglect, child abuse, child sex abuse cases, those sort of things. Things that lead to childhood trauma, essentially. And the focus of my upcoming interview series is going to be how we as adults address any of our early childhood trauma, and kind of a layman's guide, like a toolkit on how to heal from that. So that said, when I was earlier today, I was going to eat, and I saw this circle of 3 birds flying over. Like, they came swooping down across the highway, and at first I was like, oh my God, those are eagles. And then I was like, no, eagles don't really hang out in construction zones too much. So I had to really look it up again, and it ended up being a Texas, a turkey vulture. And even though the turkey vulture is not a glamorous of an animal, and it sometimes has a sinister connotation to it, you know, people think of vultures as, you know, carrion eaters, and they are, but like, you know, think about the Lion King, and the vultures in that movie, and what is the essence of a vulture? But a vulture actually has some very very strong energy to it. And if you know, and so these turkey vultures, they were swimming flying in a circle, 3 of them. And I really kind of took it as, you know, 3 is as a lucky number, as a holy number, as like the Holy Trinity, but as a spiritual completion. And I really felt like these turkey vultures represented something, and I'm trying to look it up. And so if you guys would like an animal card too, I'm curious if you guys feel that you have an animal or animals. For me, bird medicine tends to come out as a messenger for me. And hi, Shelly. Which kind of card would you like? Animal card or an herbal tarot card? Let me know and I'll put you down. For me, bird medicine tends to come out as a messenger, although I have crane as an actual totem. And the difference being that totems are like, you really understand the essence of a totem is like an animal from which you derive a lot of your identity, and the essence of that animal has a lot to do with your own path and the energy that you represent. For me, obviously, wolf came out, but even though I married into the wolf name, I felt like I married into the wolf name because wolf medicine has been huge in my life. A wolf, what is a wolf? A wolf is a lone character, yet it can also be known for its pack animal energy. And I'd been seeing things with wolf. I'd had prophetic dreams about wolves, and as time went on, it made perfect sense to me. And now, if I do shamanic journeying, I feel like wolves are always in my the journey. But lately, birds in particular, like ravens. Last week it was hawks and cranes, and this week it's turkey vultures. And I get quite a bit of messages. I consider bird medicine messengers, and messenger animals are they're not necessarily ones that are the essence of you, but you something about their energy is helpful to you in that moment and bringing a message to you. Like, you know, crane medicine, you know, last week, or hawk medicine. And Bridget, you said you like a card too. Welcome. Would you like animal or herbal tarot? Let me know. Well, so I'm going to look up what a turkey buzzard means. And like I said, if you guys have any animals that show up a lot in your life, let me know and I can look it up for you too in one of my animal cards. So originally I was thinking, oh, eagle. So something about eagle medicine also came into play. And when I looked up eagle medicine, it was like, yes, they're regal animals. Yes, they're definitely that bird's eye view, that coming from the east, that sense of all-knowing. But when I looked up eagle medicine, the first message that I saw on like the first site that I went to, it said something about balancing our obligations. And I was like, you know, this is just exactly a profound example of a messenger. It just brings you a specific message. And the message for me when I thought of eagle medicine was just really learning to balance my obligations, which is why I'm getting a migraine headache right now, because after working all week in the judicial system and then working most of yesterday interviewing people and some of today, it was like, it's time to rest. Although it was really fulfilling work, there's always a need to rest. And so, yeah, that's what I got out of the message from Eagle Medicine, even though it wasn't actually in the end an eagle, it was a buzzard. And so when I looked up a turkey vulture, it basically said that they're very smart, they're very intelligent animals, and that they're very cautious, but specifically that they utilize intelligence, and that if I were to pull it up on my phone, I could tell you, but I don't want to ramble on that. But it's not in here. So the beauty of that is that you can also find stuff on the internet. If you guys know of a really good source for animal medicine interpretation, then you let me know, because most of the time I just look it up on Google, and if I can't find it in my cards, and sometimes it's not that accurate. So Bridget says tigers are huge for me. Yes. The big cats tend to, I feel obviously really close to the jaguar. Jaguar is like a symbol to me of tenaciousness, of the ability to go through the rites of passage and difficulties, and the ability to harvest the information you need out of the hardships that you've been through. And I really love, and what isn't it perfect? This is the first card I saw when I pulled over my cards. And let me see, is tigers in here? Tiger. And some of the big cats, they have different qualities. Jaguar versus the mountain lion. And how does the tiger show up for you? What is it about them that draws you to them, or they have shown up in your life? Anybody else too? Any animals? So in the meantime, I'm going to start pulling cards for the Herbal Tarot. But I really think this week is all about balancing our obligations. It's been kind of some heavy energy, and especially with Mercury retrograde, and that is going to, I've had a lot of delays as far as time and like communication breakdowns. Yes, spirit animal when I've gone on shamanic. Yes. Awesome. Christy would like a card. Did you want an animal card, or did you want a Herbal Tarot card? Let me know, Christy, and I'll put you down. And I apologize again if I'm feeling just a little off, because I have this migraine I'm chasing away. Yeah, you have dreams of tiger. Yeah, dreams are a great way for animals to show up for you. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the cards, the weekly reading for you guys. And while I'm doing that, and I'm displaying the deck and shuffling it, let's open up some sacred space, and we will welcome the winds of the east. This is the beginning, the springtime of our life, the place from which we all come and from which we will all return. This is fire element, the place of the rising sun. Of course, eagle, brother eagle, his energy. That might be another reason why eagle showed up for me, because it's springtime. And he's also all-knowing. He flies the highest in the sky. And we thank you, winds of the east, for coming and supporting us with your guidance. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To the winds of the south, the earth element, brother snake, who crawls low and humbly on the ground and teaches us to stay grounded and to shed old skin and not to allow the opinions of others to affect the essence of who we are. Because many people think poorly of the snake, but he can be such a wise animal. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the winds of the south, the summertime of our lives. Thank you. Thank you to the winds of the west for being the place for which things come to a completion, for which it's the fall of our lifetime. And we harvest what we have sowed. We reap what we sow. And this is water element. Great big whale, brother jaguar, who also swims in the water quite a bit, lives upon the river, and fights off the mighty caiman. Thank you for your tenacious energy. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the ability to see wisdom in hardship. Thank you for that. And then we welcome the winds of the north, spirit of our ancestors, air element, spirit of hummingbird, lightness of being, also spirit of caribou. We thank you. Thank you for showing us the winter of our lifetime, that everything comes full circle, that there is a place from which we come from and we should show homage and honor them. Honor what has already come before us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, to Mother Earth, who cradles us in her womb and loves us and grounds us and gives us amazing nurturing in all the ways that we take her for granted. Thank you, thank you, thank you for so much. And then, of course, Father Sky and the star nations and all of the light beings out there that love us unconditionally and are here to give us guidance. Thank you for that. And for the cycles of life, Grandmother Moon and Grandfather Sun, thank you for your wisdom, your guidance. And then, hi Chris, thanks. No problem, you're late, it's cool. And let me know if you'd like a card. We're just opening sacred space here. Thank you to our spirit guides, benevolent light beings. I can never say that correctly. And thank you to archangels. Archangel Ariel, it's springtime. Thank you for plant medicine. Thank you for being the archangel that takes over all of, who looks over the flora, the fauna, the fae, the fairies, the woodland creatures. Thank you for that. And for helping us with all things material, our basic needs. Thank you for that. And of course, the ever-present Archangel Michael. And Mother Mary. She's been there this week. Last week I found a rose on the ground. Just fell off a bush, like a perfect, beautiful rose. And I just knew Mother Mary was there. Thank you. Thank you to all of our participants today and anyone that needs to speak to them that Spirit wants you to know. Would you like a card, an animal card, or a herbal tarot card? Chris, let me know. All right, this card is going to be for Monday and Tuesday. This one is going to be for Wednesday, Thursday, and then this one Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and lastly, the one that covers all the energy of the week. All right, so take a little whiff of my aromatherapy, my lavender, and my peppermint to help with this migraine here. Four of Swords. Oop, there we go, Four of Swords. usually, I'm noticing that my camera is backwards today. Maybe because I was on Zoom all day and that's like a perfect reflection of you. But on Facebook Live, your camera reflects backwards. So this is actually my right over here. Four of Wands, Four of Wands. All right, fennel seed. So fennel seed is, in many ancient traditions, it is the angels or devas who concern themselves with the maintenance of all existence and life. Here we find two of these experiencing the joy of a day's completion. Implicit in this scene is the subtle need to release the tension and pressure involving in completing a task and to experience completion before going on to the next task. How do we do this? Making time to be together and play is one important method. So I think in particular, when I was talking about eagle medicine, he was saying, you know, balance your obligations. Sometimes when you've been through, okay, I got it, Chris, herbal, perfect. When you've been through like some heavy duty work or you have a project, in the past, I might not have been really good at scheduling in downtime. And I've had to learn to do that, because if you don't schedule it in, your body will make you do it later, and not in a fun way. You'll really collapse in upon yourself. So I'm feeling this need, especially with my migraine coming on. It was like intuitively, you know, I can't go at full rev all the time. There has to be some downtime. So the beginning of the week, even though if you overdid it in the last few, you know, days, really take some time to be on the ebb kind of energy of maybe whatever you're completing. Just take some time to just do nothing. In fact, this coming weekend, I'm not scheduling any appointments, and I'm making sure I take some downtime. So that's sort of exactly what this card is asking you to do. Prepare for time of rest. Even if you don't necessarily get it on Monday, know that as you're going into this week, you will have some downtime, and it's coming up, and it will make whatever you need to do, you know, as far as completion, so much easier to enjoy. You know, enjoy the completion of your work, because you're going to enjoy your rest period. So making time to be together and play is one important method, which also teaches the value of cooperation and prevents the dangers of egocentricity and over-seriousness. The other thing is to not to let yourself get too wrapped up in, you know, like for me, I'm like, I could worry about, you know, I have a big vision for this speaker series coming up, but if I neglect simple things like your family, like, you know, your health, those aren't simple, but they're big. But, you know, if you think, oh, they'll always be there, I don't have to tend to them, then you can't complete your mission. And you can complete your mission in small bites, and it can still have a significant impact. And let it be easy. You know, when you say over seriousness, don't take it so seriously. You can still work towards something that you feel is important and meaningful to you in small bites. Another message of this card is to allow talents and skills to flow and be shared. Let other people help you. If maybe you have a project going on and you also feel like you're neglecting your friends, maybe your friends can come help you with that project, you know, or vice versa. If you feel like maybe your friends are busy with something, maybe you can jump in and join in with them. So be unafraid to live up to your potential. Allow your inner light to shine through. Okay. Fennel seeds in a pouch. Carry the fennel seeds in a pouch. You can use the essence of them. They're very good for digestive relaxation. To me, the digestive system represents, it's like a microcosm of your whole self. So like every disease that we have, I think has the origin in gut health. So this fennel seed is going to be restorative for your indigestion, any kind of flatulence, pains. You can crush it up and crush the seeds up in a covered cup of boiling water to help get rid of some of like just the intestinal fortitude, build up the strength of your intestines. Fennel is good to take after meals and first thing in the morning to help regulate digestion. And all of us know that when our digestion is not working properly, it's very distracting and prevents us from really enjoying life. So it's that essence of staying well balanced to really be able to enjoy life. I feel greater self-confidence by quietly recognizing my many gifts and accomplishments. There's a couple, they add in a few other herbs that you can use with fennel to help with this essence, okay? One is anise seed. Some say anise, but it's anise. Star anise and cumin seed. All of them work in combination with the same essence of fennel, which is to allow a greater sense of groundedness and joy. Because when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling airy-fairy, when you're feeling way too preoccupied with something, it's hard to feel grounded and enjoy things. So just remember to always kind of check in with yourself. Maybe think of fennel as a way to give you that personal check-in feeling. You can rub fennel oil on the soles of your feet. The soles of your feet obviously have a very grounding effect. And then don't forget real true grounding. Go stand out in the dirt barefooted. Okay, so, oh my goodness, I think I just totally read this. See, this is exactly an example of the this migraine. I read the Four of Wands, and this is the Four of Swords. This is a total Mercury retrograde, you know, boo-boo. So you guys are like, and poor Crystal, you're just coming on and catching this live for the first time, and what? Okay, so real life example of Mercury retrograde. You guys are awesome. Thank you for tolerating this. Okay, breathe. Four of Swords. I thought that I was a little bit off here. Okay, Four of Swords. So in perfect Mercury retrograde fashion, we're gonna redo Monday and Tuesday's card, okay? But I'm sure that there was some reason why I had to talk about all that other stuff. Because Spirit makes no mistakes. We might, but Spirit uses us. So, okay, Four of Swords. Let's start over. You guys are awesome. Thanks. Thank you for the hearts. Okay, Four of Swords. Okay, Mullein. I've never heard some of these. Spiritually, Mullein can help one to take a breather. Oh, that's very perfect. Okay, here we go. After such disharmony, excessive thinking, and restlessness, the man has set down his sword and is taking a breather. It's time to be calm, to rest, and recuperate. Wasn't I just saying that anyway? So I was getting the essence of it. And then it says it's time to regain inner strength, reorganize thoughts, and make new plans. So this may be a good time to seek guidance spiritually, financially, or otherwise. This is not a time to be scattered and disorganized, but instead one must strive to be grounded and to understand the boundaries and forms by which one must live. If there is a feeling of being repressed or restricted, it is best to look at the inner realities by which one lives to see where the self is not allowed freedom of positive expression. This, again, it keeps going back to that idea, like you need to make time to relax. So for me, I wasn't allowing this spiritual, inner, feminine, intuitive side to come out because I wasn't taking time to enjoy myself. I would work too hard. It's a habit of mine. So if you know you have this habit of yours that doesn't allow for room for you to make space for the things that need to come out, be your own best friend. Set boundaries with yourself. And boundaries are like, hey, maybe I'm working too much. It's even though I'm not finished with this project or it's just time for me to rest. This may, like I said, any unconsciousness may be due to lack of the ability to confront the current situation. Sometimes we're overdoing it because when we slow down, the stillness is what's scary to us. So take the time out to regroup and rest, but do it in such a way that will have greater strength and clarity to deal with the next step. You're resting, but you don't necessarily have to stop all the way. Okay, so spiritually, mullein can help one to take a breather after much struggle and conflict. It will open the lungs and allow the life breath to flow in more easily, and allow toxins such as negative thoughts to be exhaled and released. Yeah, pay attention to breath. That's one of the easiest ways to move energy in your body. If you're in the habit of, oh, thank you, Krista. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Yes, mullein is often used for seasonal allergies. Coughs, hoarseness, bronchitis, phlegm, whooping cough. Flowers are specifically sedative and anti-inflammatory. So again, you can think about the essence of mullein, and it will bring you that calming effect. That, like, if you've been, that feeling you get when you're overstressed or you've just stayed up way too long or whatnot, it can, every sort of inflammatory, which is what seasonal allergies are, it's a histamine response. And when you have stress in the body, that you can create quite a bit of histamine, and this calms the histamine response in your body. So affirmation for the Four of Swords: I give myself the time to rest and recuperate, and I'm open to guidance that comes towards me. So, and every time we rest, we always come back so much more effective and efficient. And now let's go on to Wednesday, Thursday. Knight of Wands. There we go, Knight of Wands. And in the very small writing, it says aconite. It's a poisonous herb, okay? Poisonous herb. So Knight of Wands, Knight of Wands. And of course, wands being a fire element. The Knight of Wands represents the expanding and volatilizing aspect of fire. He is an armored, hot-blooded warrior ready to take on a cause vigorously. So of course, we just rested, and then right after that, we're going to feel re-inspired and reinvigorated. If a woman draws the card, the Knight of Wands would be most like the character Brunhilde in Wagner's Ring Cycle, an enthusiastic female warrior whose exuberant personality tends to align with and champion various causes. So, like I was kind of saying earlier, you know, you can still do your divine mission in bit by bits. So take your rest, and then you'll get reinvigorated towards the middle of the week. The Knight of Wands is bold and unafraid to act quickly and with great courage. He must guard against being too macho and insensitive. He must guard against, such an individual does best when he directs his competitive spirit to overcoming personal shortcomings. So instead of, you know, the only competition should be not other people, but you and your last self and your future self. Who are you aspiring to be? Rather than, he says, such individuals does best when he directs his competitive spirit to overcoming personal shortcomings and limitations, rather than trying to dominate and control others who are of a more yielding nature. If he is at all intelligent, he will learn for himself the power or simplicity of yielding. So yielding, to me, is actually a sign of strength. The most strong woods are flexible woods. When you're too brittle, you break, right? When you're too rigid, you break. But when you're flexible and yielding, you're resilient. So just keep that in mind. When you decide that it's time to step in and really bring it and work on something, let yourself be yielding in the process, because then you won't get too you'll be able to navigate things in a much more invigorating way instead of breaking you. You know, if you give an example, whenever you try to work on a new project or bring an idea up, and you're really passionate about it, but other people maybe aren't understanding where you're coming from. If you're more flexible and you understand that other people have different ideas about things and different ways of viewing, and you understand them from their perspective, versus just being like, this is my opinion and I'm right and you're wrong, you'll get further along with that yielding kind of energy. Because while you yield to their insight, you're also making a connection. So that's what I'm getting out of this. If he is at all intelligent, he will learn for himself the power and simplicity of yielding. It would be better for his life expression, however, if he could learn this sooner rather than later, for then he could direct his boundless energy and will to personal spiritual growth and service to others. So, aconite, the herb, may be carried as a talisman to maximize potential and overcome indifference and apathy. So when I think of apathy, that's like the indifference of maybe the other person's experience. So if you're coming across maybe any kind of boundary or something to stop you from whatever you're trying to accomplish this week, just remember that maybe it's really not that much of a boundary for you, as long as you understand where the other person's coming from. It will just give you more insight. So aconite, also known as monkshood, is one of the deadliest plant poisons. It's taken either in minute homeopathic dose or in a specially prepared and detoxified form that is used in traditional Chinese medicine. It is the most yang herb and the most powerful metabolic stimulant known. So yang being masculine energy, and metabolic stimulant, like to rev up your inner fire. So it's used for coldness, low metabolism, and arthritic and rheumatic complaints. A talisman of the herb may be worn, or a meditation may be practiced with the herb or with a card. This is just gonna, the essence of it's gonna give you the ability to really bring it, but also bring it with a sense of, bring it meaning your energy and will, but with the ability to yield and understand that you can navigate the ins and outs of the situation as they pop up for you, especially in this Mercury retrograde where there's lots of delays, lots of miscommunications, lots of, can we just do this over again? Let's start over. Kind of like today with the cards, let's just start over. However, the affirmation is, however it may manifest, I have universal power at my command, and I can and do make a difference. Okay, so for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we have the Nine of Cups, squabbine. Squabbine. And once again, we're getting a lot of the same elements. Swords, air, wands, fire, and cups, water for this week, which means that, you know, we're getting a lot of different energy, but it's transient energy. Nine of Cups. And all energy ultimately is transient. Some are just a broader band of energy than others. So when we get the minor arcana, the four suits, this generally deals with just passing energy, not things that are going to have long-term effects. So, and that's really kind of oversimplifying it. A woman sits in an attitude of self-satisfaction. So I'm thinking you rested a little bit, you really brought it during the middle of the week, and now it's time to really just sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labor. So she may be ready to give birth to a child, or because of her accomplishments, she may feel a sense of completion, personal fulfillment. 3 plumes in her hat symbolize achievements. The snowy mountain peaks in the background indicate that this is only one of the steps along the way, and that there are yet mountains to climb to realize one's potential. So I'm really getting this sort of overall message this week that if you, sometimes we give ourselves a hard time because we feel like to live a divine mission means that we have to be making huge sweeping action all the time. But no, you can do it a little bit at a time, and you don't have to exhaust yourself. And it can also be meaningful for you. And of the things that you do, give yourself credit for celebrating it to its mini completion so that you can start up again. Everything happens in layers. So you may finish this one project, but then you're going to be eternally in search of the latest creative energy and the need to move forward. And so just really enjoy the step that you're in. The snowy mountain peaks in the background indicate that this is only one of the steps along the way, and that there are yet mountains to climb to realize one's potential. Give yourself a pat on the back, but don't get so complacent and lazy that you stop creating. That's that feeling of, oh, well, I did this one project and now I'm done and over with. No, if you stay in this nice cycle of bringing the energy, completing it, allowing it to come to its completion, enjoying and celebrating its completion, then you're going to have enough energy. You've prepped yourself enough to keep going into the next one. So share your love and joy with others and allow your inner light and expression to flow from you. So we've been hearing that in a few other of the cards too. Bringing out what's really inside of you, the love and the light that's inside of you. And you can do this in very mundane ways. And I hate to say it mundane, but the smallest, simplest interactions that you have, this is what I mean by mundane. You can choose when you're at the coffee shop in the morning to smile. And really, for me, it was like a big deal whenever I go to the coffee shop and the girl there remembered my name. And it was like just a little detail, little details like that that help other people see your inner light. Maybe pay for somebody behind you. I know they sound like, you know, maybe you've heard it before or whatever, but just little things that surprise somebody and show your inner light. How and what simple ways, think about it, what simple ways can you make a difference? Could you maybe bake, you know, some cake for your family in a loving way? Do it with like this really truly grateful feeling, like that I have this awesome family and I'm making this cake for them. Just those little details. So squaw vine, also known as partridge berry, is commonly used as a womb strengthener and as an aid in facilitating childbirth. This herb will inspire self-confidence, especially regarding the capacity to share oneself physically with another. So that could be many ways. Sexually, could be I just have enough energy to go play with my kids, that sort of essence. So it is useful in relieving menstrual irregularities as well as promoting fertility and protecting against miscarriage. The keywords are self-satisfaction, achievement, self-acceptance, and giving birth to a dream. Yes, and pay it forward. And cake, yay, cake! The herb can be worn as a talisman or taken as an essence to inspire the seeker. And see, that's the thing that I love about herbs. You don't necessarily have to have the physical herb itself. You could maybe just even look at photos of it, even the word, and think about the essence of it and write it down on a piece of paper and put it in your little medicine pouch. Or you can just put it in your pocket, whatever, just to really appreciate the essence of it. So I share my visions and feelings with those to whom I am close. All right. And then for the overall energy of the week, a little more air energy, Six of Swords, vervain. So there's going to be a lot of thoughts going on this week. That air energy, really mental processes. Some mental processes. You're really conscious of what's going on and you're thinking about it. You're just mindlessly going through your week. So intentionally, there you go, intentionally choosing to wind down a little bit, intentionally choosing to really bring it during the middle of the week, and intentionally allowing yourself to enjoy the fruits of your labors. And to be mindful of how you're really just interacting. Can I choose to give more of myself? What could I give in this situation? And when you say, you know, I've been in some of these Facebook groups and they say, what can you give to this space? And sometimes people respond and they're just kind of like, I don't know. To give of yourself, that doesn't require money, doesn't require, you know, doing per se, like that real yang energy. How can you give of yourself? Think about that essence and what does it really mean to give of yourself and to share yourself. What about yourself that you like keep to yourself that maybe is a good way you can connect with others? So vervain, the Six Swords, are traveling on a boat to a far off shore. The sun, which can be looked at as rising or setting, indicates a new cycle beginning or an old cycle ending. The journey into a different way of viewing things has begun. A new perspective is unfolding. So I'm thinking, when you decide that maybe this week is the week that I'm going to try to drive to work listening to an audiobook instead of getting frustrated in traffic. Oh, wow, this is a whole new way of doing things. So I realized I could have spent this time irritated, or I could spend this time enjoying myself. So there's always a way to apply new energy to the same situations. So allowing the old views to leave will expose a fresh approach. Be willing to let go of the cobwebs in the mind. A new location or job or a journey may be necessary to throw one into the new perspective more completely. And sometimes it's just a really simple change, like, oh, I got a new coffee creamer this week, and now it just sort of adds something new, like a little simple tweak to your regular routine can really make a vast difference. Yes, Bridget says, saying good morning to a stranger. Yeah, maybe that person was just like, wow, you know what? Like, that's so nice. You know, I was thinking everybody in humanity is terrible these days, and this person just was so nice. I loved their energy. You know, it's that sort of thing. Okay, so, however, just the willingness to allow thoughts to be open to change may be sufficient. You may not even need to know. If you just say, Spirit, open my eyes, let me see where I can learn new ways of being, and let it in. And just, it could be like the simplest thing, like someone you go to work with and they irritate the heck out of you. Find a way to appreciate them this week. Just little things like that. Try to step back from your problems and situations so that a clearer perspective may be obtained. The history of Vervain is quite fascinating. Priests called it herba sacra, which, because it was used for sacrifices, a little crazy, the Celts used it in their anointing waters for purification during rites and rituals. Magicians and sorcerers employed an ointment of vervain. Many wore the bruised plant around the neck to prevent headaches. Maybe I need to meditate on vervain. In modern times, vervain may again find a place in our seeking to see things from a different perspective by opening up the sixth chakra or third eye. It will aid in releasing congested thinking. Sometimes that congested thinking is, I've been really mulling over this thing, just going at it and going at it and going at it, and I can't come up to a good conclusion or a way out of it or a how or whatever. Just focus on the vervain, trust Spirit to take care of it. Sometimes I will say, okay, I'm giving this up to you. I'll visualize blowing that concern into a figurative, symbolic, like pink bubble. You can blow it into crystal. You can go outside and find a rock. You know, always ask the rock, excuse me, can I use you? Will Spirit let me use you? Blow that energy into the rock, that concern, put it in the ground, and give it away to Spirit. Let them handle it. And every time I've done that, the solution came to me. It was taken care of. It was already addressed in a way that I didn't have to worry about it. Or it was like just a concern that somehow resolved itself. Or in a way like went away because it was a moot point. So just really if you're really in that congested, like stuck place, or you're just ruminating, overthinking, blow that concern into this imaginary pink bubble and release it out into the universe, you know, for the greater good of all. Thank you, Spirit, for taking care of this for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Or again, blow it into a rock, blow it into and whatever, and put that rock into the ground, bury it into the ground. Thank Mother Earth for grounding you and taking care of this, holding on to this burden for you, and releasing it and transmuting it into something good. A few drops of the herbal essence can be taken as often as needed when one is faced with the need to look at things from a different perspective or to see things from a different dimension of reality. A piece of the herb may be worn as a charm or amulet. Again, they use, this book talks a lot about wearing amulets. If in some of my shamanic studying, there you can purchase medicine bags. Most of the time there's some form of dyed leather with some beadwork, whatever. But you don't necessarily have to wear these medicine bags. You can just enjoy the essence of them. Look up pictures of vervain or something like that on the internet, print it out, write the word. Just keep it close to you, the intention or the essence of it. Additionally, a standard infusion or tincture may be taken up to 3 times per day. An infusion or tincture usually involves, what's the word? I keep wanting to say embalm, but it's not the right word. Putting it in like kind of an alcohol type solution, and if you can remember the word, anyone help me out. Mixing it up with, you know, like a little couple drops of it with like an alcoholic solution. I'm having a total brain moment. Anyways, you can apply it to acutely painful conditions such as wounds, bruises, and sprains. So an affirmation for vervain and the energy for this week. Overall, I open myself to different perspectives about my life. I ride in the boat of inner faith. So, you know, I had this really, and I want to just, before I pull everybody else's individual cards, I wanted to talk about one of my interviews this weekend. The lady and I were talking, and we were discussing this idea of surrendering to divine will, and how, I'm going to sniff some more lavender here. Oh, beautiful. And peppermint. Peppermint's excellent for migraines, by the way. I don't advise putting it directly on your skin, but the smell of it is wonderful. Infusion, yes. Yes, I think that's what it is. Well, we were talking about this surrendering to divine will, and one of the things was like this concept that trusting in God, that at the end of the day, God still is going to be, how did she put it? That God loves you regardless. You don't trust in that love yet if you aren't able to truly surrender to divine will. And I was like, this is really amazing, because to me, divine will is like understanding that I surrender to this, good or bad. I surrender to this concept, good or bad. And divine will, we have to believe, ultimately is for our greater good. And if we don't believe that, and we're just being punished by something going on, or we're trying to work so hard to make something happen that's not necessarily what's in our destiny, that's when we start bumping up against our idea of what divine will is. And, but truly, if it's coming from God and we are an extension of God, at some point, our matching up our own will with God's will is like amazing to me. And that's why I think we're co-creators. It's like this concept of believing that your will and God's will come together at some point. And when they come together, that's where like the true magic happens. So let's see what we have here. Since I still have the herbal cards out, I'm going to pull one first for Bethany. And I think I'm going to pull them all at once, because if I shuffle them individually, that takes quite a bit of time. And we're already at 5:55. So this is the card for, the herbal card for Bethany. And then this is the herbal card for Chris. And I'll get to the animal cards in just a moment here. So, first for Bethany, 7 of Swords. Lots of sword energy this week. Lots of air energy. A lot of mental stuff going on. 7 of Swords. Would Bethany. Interesting. Okay. The 5 swords flying through the air indicates thoughts that are ungrounded, elusive, and changeable. Only some of the information is at hand. Those two swords are in the ground. No person is visible, which indicates that confrontations are being avoided or that there are hidden intentions. There can be a sense that things are too changeable and confusing to bother about. Usually when you get into this energetic space, I think it's best to sit back and watch. Just observe and maybe try to fill in the blank about what's not being made available for you. Or just have this understanding that I don't know everything, so maybe it's best that I sit back and wait till I form a conclusion or take action. So it says, it may be a good time to do some research or to collect knowledge and ideas from others with regards to the scene at hand. Lay your cards on the table and be honest with yourself and with others. Be willing to reveal your true intentions or to find out and listen to what others' true intentions are. So you may be just recognizing, okay, maybe I just don't have everybody's perspective yet. Taking the time to go find out what they are, that helps you maybe see them from a more human light and form your opinion about what to do or not to do. Sometimes taking no action is the best way. I think this past week, for me especially, like even though inside I was maybe really frustrated at many things on this with this trial and whatnot, me just being able to tolerate it and not react and not, you know, like the judge would say, no untoward outbursts of emotion, when they say order in the court and that kind of thing. It's that sense of being able to see what's going on and maybe not needing to take immediate action on it. So situations like this can wear on the nerves until it is clear as to what is going on. So just sort of be flexible with the wearing on your nerves part. Don't let it wear on your nerves. I know it's hard, but just kind of put it aside. Maybe blow into the bubble, blow into a rock, put that concern. Hey, this situation, I don't feel good about it, Spirit. I'm going to let you take all of that anxiety away from me. Here you go. Blow it into the bubble, blow it into the crystal, let it go, release it to divine will. There you go. So that's it. Wood betony itself, medicinally, is used as a nervine with special action for diseases of the head. So overthinking, anxiety, hysteria, nervousness. So if you're feeling really ungrounded, look at the essence of wood betony to help you through some of these moments. Not all things are being revealed. Need to be honest with the self and others. Research needed in order to find out what is going on. Your affirmation would be, with a peaceful heart, I gather information and truth for my plans and goals. Okay, perfect. And then now this one we have Queen of Wands, raspberry leaf for Chris. I love raspberry leaf. It's one of my favorites. To me, it's like the essence of womanhood. And it smells divine. It's a wonderful uterine tonic. Any kind of uterine health. It really helps the muscles of the uterus. If you're cramping, if you're going through menopause, maybe you have fibroids, maybe you have, especially if you're pregnant, which I know you're not, but I just love raspberry. And it's just, like I said, it smells divine. So Queen of Wands. Some fire energy going on here for you this week. There we go. The Queen of Wands represents the watery yin aspect of fire. She's depicted as a Native American whose earthiness is symbolized by her fertility. Think of Mother Earth, the womb of Mother Earth, just how grounding that is. And where is our womb in our bodies? In like the most centered place in our bodies, right? The womb is in the yin. You're welcome, Bethany. The yin of our energy is supposed to be, even though it's internal, it can be very grounding. She is a woman in full possession of her feminine powers and radiates an aura. I think I pulled this card for you before. There's something about this, or we talked to, this card came up recently, that essence of being a possession of her feminine powers and radiating an aura of profound inner calm and groundedness. The queen may have a tendency to allow herself to become inundated and overwhelmed with practical matters. Again, that blow into a bubble, blow into a rock, blow into a crystal, and let it go to the universe. Let divine spirit handle it. That's all that let them handle the practical details. You have that ultimate faith and stay calm and grounded in whatever situation's going on. She can find deeper satisfaction and rewards if she remembers to cultivate and maintain her innate feminine intuitive powers. Like, you just know it's going to work out. And you just know that what you know, you don't need anyone else to validate it. It's just there. And you trust it. She may also need to make more time for shared intimacy and for allowing the inner child to emerge in a playful way. Okay, so keywords are sensuality, feminine warmth, inner poise and command. Something about being more playful is going to really add a lot to your life, like the quality of your life. Affirmation, discretion and receptivity are the keys to my power. Receptivity, like, it's strange, but being able to receive is a huge feminine power. And most of us are out of touch with our feminine. We're women, but we're out of touch with our inner feminine and that ability to receive. And receiving in the sense of allowing others to do for us, allowing the universe to take care of something without us having to do it. That allowing receiving energy. The yang energy is having to always constantly be in that angsty doing, in a weird way, interfering, meddlesome way. And so receiving is just sitting back, knowing it's going to get taken care of, and all is well. So I think that's the energy for you this week. Okay, so let's move to the animal cards. So first on the animal cards is Deb, and I'm going to just shuffle these while I'm talking, and then I'll pull a card for Shelly, Bridget, and Christy, and talk about this. And we're a little bit over today, so thank you guys for staying on. I know it's been a long card pull. And I think it's getting warm in here because we turned the heat on yesterday. It was 40 degrees or something like that last night. And now, in typical Texas fashion, it's 70 degrees today. And we probably require some air conditioning. I'm from New England. Normally, they don't have air conditioners most of the time. We don't need it. We just need a fan in the window. But I'm becoming accustomed to Texas because I've been here for 14 years. So this first card for Deb. I'm smiling because it's, you'll see. This next one for Shelly. This next one for Bridget. And this next one for Christy. All right. All right, Deb. We're soul sisters, okay? Jaguar, my totem animal. I really, this animal is all about integrity, personal integrity. Who do you want to be, and how do you let yourself be that? Let me pull up Mr. Jaguar. And to be tenacious in the face of adversity. Jaguar. So the 4 agreements talks about being impeccable with your word, and Jaguar is in typical South American shamanic wisdom, is the creature whose essence is all about integrity and being impeccable. Be impeccable with your word. Always do your best. And since the death of Sky God, this godlike being who had come from the stars and led the Maya, their Central America, to prosperity and a golden era of spiritual understanding, his teachings of love, integrity, impeccability, and the power of compassionate heart had been perverted. The distortion of his Jaguar teachings had generated to where the priests were sacrificing human beings and foolishly cutting out the victims' hearts to reclaim the power of the golden days of the empire. Forgotten was the authentic power of the honorable and loving heart in Sky God's teachings. Sky God being, and then star nations. The great jaguar spirit, who was Sky God's totem, the essence of the embodiment of his energy, roamed the dreams of the Maya looking for any dishonorable behavior. And, I think that might be why I'm a police officer too. The jaguar, like, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? If not, I'm going to enforce the law. So for you, dishonorable behavior could be the interactions that others are having with you. Do you feel that they're acting in an honorable way? Are you returning the favor? And misdeeds and abuses of power had diminished the spirit of the Maya. To me, the jaguar is all about, if you're in a position of authority, if you're in a position of power, having integrity. And that means, how are you conducting yourself within your relationships? Are you being impeccable with your word? Are you having integrity? Are you doing the right thing by yourself and for others? The priests who had abused the authority and power bestowed on them quaked in fear, knowing that the day of reckoning had come. Jaguar brought justice by stalking their dreams and devouring their flagrantly dishonorable and greedy misdeeds. Jaguar medicine is integrity and impeccability. Its mission is to devour the unclean aspects of human behavior. Jaguar teaches us the penalties of inappropriate behavior and offers the rewards of good medicine to those who stand in their personal integrity and walk through life in an impeccable manner. So this can be pretty subjective. What is impeccable to you? This could be, hey, if you told me you're going to do something, you better do it. But if you're going to hold someone to their word, you must also keep your word to them. So, Jaguar says it offers the rewards of good medicine. That could mean just the sense of feeling right within, okay? If Jaguar is roaming your dream reality today, its primal roar may be rewarding you for maintaining your integrity in some situation where you could have easily misused your authority. So maybe you chose to keep your peace. You didn't lose your temper when someone was being abusive with you. And that's what Jaguar is talking about. Having that integrity also is one of those words that says, are you maintaining the whole? Are you, are you a good representation of the whole? Are you able to keep it together, basically? So for me, losing integrity is losing my temper, maybe not having self-control. So you may have been unwilling to pass judgment on another or to be self-serving. So when you had the opportunity to maybe lord it over somebody, you didn't, and that's what Jaguar is talking about. That's the spirit of Jaguar. Were you especially kind to someone or do a good deed that was unexpected? So here's some of that energy for this week. How can you arrive at old situations with new energy and have it be in integrity? So if so, allow the recognition to fill you with feelings of well-being and continue to serve with compassion and open-hearted integrity. Sometimes the self-respect that you have when you have self-control is immeasurable. The self-esteem that you have for doing what you said you were going to do, that's immeasurable. That's keeping your word. Always be impeccable with your word. Do not falter in your resolve to be your personal best at all times. And that's for you, not for anyone else, not for that approving, the need for approval from a parent or some other authority figure. Let God and your internal divine self be the only authority you really need, okay? Maintain your dignity, devotion, and compassion, holding to forthrightness and honesty, no matter what the contrary influences. No matter what the contrary influences. So even if they're being a total shit, like, just hold your own, and you'll feel so much better for it. You and God stayed good, right? So do not feed any self-important need to be an enlightened one, treating others in a self-righteous manner. Jaguar medicine teaches you that personal integrity allows for mistakes, embraces forgiveness, and humbly makes self-directed corrections, allowing a rebalanced spirit to triumph once again. So, and when it was saying allows for mistakes. So when you're seeing maybe somebody else where they're clearly not behaving in integrity, You can say, you know what, they're being human right now. They're just being human. We're all human. I could react and be like, hey, you know better. You shouldn't be like this. But we'll have a moment. Like, if every time I get like that, then something happens where I turn right around and I do the exact same thing. And then it's like, God's like, you know what? This is me telling you, you know, showing you, hey, I show you mercy, so you show others mercy. And that's really important. So that's one of my favorites. That's why I love Jaguar. When we have our own integrity, our own dignity. So that's for Deb. And then the next is going to be for Shelly. I'm fanning myself because it's like 78 degrees in here. Okay. For Shelly, we have the Mighty Dog. And of course, as you might have assumed, the dog is all about loyalty. Dog, you're so noble until the bitter end. Your medicine is the teaching of true and loyal friends. And I think there's something about this week where we're like, that which we're hoping we get from others, let it be a reflection of what we must be for others. So, all of the Southwest and Plains Indian tribes had dogs. These noble animals would often give warning signals of approaching danger. Another little tidbit, in law enforcement, we call ourselves sheepdogs, because what are sheepdogs? They ward off the wolf from the sheep. They're that thin blue line. So the dog can be that essence of an advocate, of helping those who cannot help themselves. They helped in the hunt and were a great source of warmth on long winter nights. Since the canine tribe has many breeds, early Indian dogs were usually half wild. This wildness, however, never divested the owners of their dogs' innate loyalty. Dog has been considered the servant of humanity throughout history. Of course, man's best friend, right? If a person carries dog medicine, he or she is usually serving others or humanity in some way. Here you will find the charity worker, the philanthropist, the nurse, the counselor, the minister, and the soldier. So that divine mission, and really feel like you're advocating for others. Dog was the servant soldier that guarded the tribe's lodges from surprise attack. Again, the sheepdog, right? Dog is a medicine that embodies the loving gentleness of best friend and the half-wild protector energy of territorial imperative. Like Anubis, the jackal dog protector of Egypt, dog is a guardian. Throughout history, dog has been the guardian of hell, as well as of ancient secrets, hidden treasures, and babies, while mothers were cooking or in the fields. Dog honors its gifts and is loyal to the trust placed in its care. So this week, and maybe, I don't know if this is a profound thing for you, but being a caretaker, being the one who protects those who cannot protect themselves, or just knowing that you have assumed that role to advocate for others, that's what dog medicine is. In examining dog medicine, you might find that you have fond personal memories of owning and loving dog as a pet. The message the dog is trying to give you is that you must delve deeply into your sense of service to others. Canines are genuinely service-oriented animals. Of course, they're service animals most of the time, and are devoted to their owners with a sense of loyalty that supersedes how they are treated. Again, there's that essence, like I was talking about with Jaguar. No matter how much someone else is treating you in a certain way, dog is a little bit different. Like, it just feels that it's its duty to serve, regardless of what the other person's doing. This is especially good with, you know, if you are a caretaker. I was in the medical field, and sometimes our patients at the time were maybe not that nice, but they required that mercy, that innate feeling of selfless service, because they needed that mercy at that time. They needed that neutral ability of care. So let's see. If dog had been yelled at or paddled, it still returns love to the person who was the source of its bad treatment. This does not come from stupidity, but rather from a deep and compassionate understanding of human shortcomings. So yeah, we're all human. It is as if a tolerant spirit dwells in the heart of every canine that acts only to be of service. Ah, that's beautiful. You can also see dogs that have had the loyalty beaten out of them. They cower and cry at the slightest look of disapproval, but this is not their normal nature. Some varieties of dogs have been trained against their natures to be brutal and vicious. Out of a sense of service, these breeds have adopted the attack-oriented desires of their owners. They carry an altered genetic memory of what service means if they are to be approved of by their masters. I feel like the essence for this card is all about understanding and aligning with the energy of service to others. And if we're feeling out of alignment with that, to reevaluate and come from this place of service. Where really you are in alignment with your actual true nature. Dog medicine asks you to look at how readily your sense of loyalty is countermanded by your need for approval. If you've pulled the dog card, there are several questions you need to consider, depending on the situation about which you are asking. Have I recently forgotten that I owe my allegiance to my personal truth in life? Yeah. So don't just go blindly doing what other people want you to do if it's not in alignment with your own personal truth of being in service. Is it possible that gossip or the opinions of others have jaded my loyalty to a certain friend or group? Have I denied or ignored someone who is trying to be my loyal friend? And have I been loyal and true to my goals? So just again, remember that I am not who you think I am. You are who you think I am. And so, am I being loyal? If I'm worried about you being loyal to me, am I being loyal to you? And so, just that's what dog energy is. So that's the first Shelly. Whew, it's getting warm in here. It's been warm in here. Oh, you're welcome, Chris. I know that was a few minutes ago you said that, but okay. This card, that was the card for Shelly, and this card is for Bridget. And thank you to you guys for staying on. I know that sometimes these can be kind of lengthy, but I tell you what Spirit wants me to tell you. So for you, Bridget, this is one of my all-time favorites, and I think the winged ones are the ones that tend to give me messages. And I pulled for you the Dragonfly card. Okay. And let me know if that has any significance for you. Dragonfly is one of those amazing animals that can accomplish many things, like flying in a backwards, forward, whatever, in a way that takes far less energy than some of the other insects. But it's because he's wise and he's learned. Dragonfly breaks illusions, brings visions of power, no need to prove it, now is the hour. Know it, believe it, Great Spirit intercedes, feeding you, blessing you, and filling all of your needs. Dragonfly medicine is of the dream time and the illusionary facade we accept as physical reality. The iridescence of dragonfly's wings reminds us of colors not found in our everyday experience. Dragonfly's shifting of color, energy, form, and movement explodes into the mind of the observer, bringing vague memories of a time or place where magic reigned. Some legends say the dragonfly was once dragon, and that dragon had scales like dragonfly's wings. Dragon was full of wisdom and flew through the night, bringing light with its fiery breath. The breath of dragon brought forth the art of magic and the illusion of changing form. Then dragon got caught in its own facade. Coyote tricked dragon into changing form, and the shape of its new body became like dragonflies. In accepting the challenge to prove its power, magical prowess, dragon lost its power. Dragonfly is the essence of the winds of change, the messages of wisdom and enlightenment, and the communications from the elemental world. This elemental world is made up of the tiny spirits of plants and of the elements air, earth, fire, and water. In essence, this world is full of nature spirits. Dragonfly to me is a huge messenger, whenever I see a dragonfly, I think that's just spirit telling me there's great wisdom for you here. Pay attention. So if dragonfly has flown into your cards today, you may have forgotten to water your plants. On another level, you may need to give thanks to the food you eat for sustaining your body. On the psychological level, it may be time to break down the illusions you have held that restrict your actions or ideas. Dragonfly medicine also beckons you to seek out the parts of your habits which you need to change. Yeah, pay attention here. There's something here for you that's important. Have you put on too much weight, or have you started to look like a scarecrow? Have you tended to the changes you have wanted to make in your life? If you feel the need for change, call on Dragonfly to guide you through the mists of illusion to the pathway of transformation. Dragonfly is all about transformation, but using wisdom to get there. See how you can apply the art of illusion to your present question or situation, and remember that things are never completely as they seem. Dragonfly also asks you to use magic in your asking of what you want. When I say give it up to spirit, blow it into the bubble. If you see Dragonfly, just say, thank you, Dragonfly, for bringing this essence of magic, this element that's divine, that's beyond what we can do in this 3D world. Thank you for that wisdom. We understand it's available to us and we use it. So there we go. All right. That's Dragonfly. Woohoo! That's one of my favorites. Dragonfly was a big messenger for me last year when it was time for me to quit my job. And then, of course, I came full circle and I'm back at my job. Hi, Shayna. Thanks for joining. And last but not least, we have Christy, and we have pulled the weasel. And I love these animals like the snake and the weasel and the spider. They all have these, oh, you're so welcome. And you're welcome, Shelley, and I'm glad that it made sense for you, Bridget. Weasel is one of those that can be misunderstood, but the essence of it, truly, they definitely have their place in our ecosystem here. So, stealth. Weasel, weasel, weasel. Who's in the hen house now? If I were to ask you, you'd say it was the cow. So, when I was saying they represent certain energy that we maybe think is, yeah, Chris, the animal card for the week, if I had one, it would be a turkey buzzard. And I'm going to look up some symbology around what the turkey buzzard is, but most of it has to do with intelligence and caution, and they're great animals of being able to see things that others can't. So, okay, so back to the weasel. The weasel has an incredible amount of energy and ingenuity. And that's that essence of ingenuity, that maybe they're stealthy, but they use it because it helps them get through things that others might find too difficult. It says it has an incredible amount of energy and ingenuity, yet it is a difficult power totem to have. It is not without significance that ermine or weasel pelt is worn by royalty. Weasel ears hear what is really being said. This is a great ability, but it can also be, a burden in a way. Weasel eyes see beneath the surface of a situation to know the many ramifications of an event. This, too, is a rare gift. So this is, in a way, the all-seeing eyes. The chiefs sent Weasel to the enemy camp to smoke them for power. What are the medicines of the enemy? The chiefs asked Weasel upon its return. Weasel never failed to give an accurate account of the enemy's numbers, strengths, and weaknesses. It was Weasel who tearfully told the original people of the coming of the White Boat people. These brothers have strange new medicines, said Weasel. They will tell us that to live the way we do is wrong, They will confuse us with their talking bark. They have stolen thunder from Skyfather and placed it in their weapons. And they have no respect for the animal brothers and sisters, and they make their thunder speak to the animals and kill them. They will make the thunder speak to us also. Their numbers are too many to count, and these white brothers will steal everything from us but our spirits. The great dark shadow of the ravenous bird of death has fallen over the people. I think this is really important right now, especially the way things are going in our culture. The weasel is kind of like understanding that some crappy stuff really happens, and to know it and see it and be able to realize this is the truth. The weasel fur changes color with the season. Silent Weasel has many lessons to teach you. Weasel could confound Great Spirit, pick Great Spirit's pockets, and then leave Great Spirit contemplating the divine navel. If this is your personal medicine, your powers of observation are keen. You seem to be saying, leave me alone and I will do the same for you. You might even look a bit guilty at times due to what you know from observing life. Like, you just kind of already know this is, things might not be as great, but me knowing the truth is important. You may be a loner hiding yourself away from others, or perhaps even a recluse. You are a power ally to have in any business organization, since you can see what the competition is doing. People may make a mistake in sizing you up since they do not immediately see your powers. But the first time they try to outsmart you, they will soon learn that your intelligence is greater than their own. Look to weasel power to tell you the hidden reasons behind anything. Some people are put off by weasel medicine, talent, and abilities, but there are no bad medicines. So there's a time and a place for all of this, basically. And to use it, of course, with integrity. We all have power, or we would not be here to heal Mother Earth. Perhaps if you have weasel power, you could use your secret gifts for the good of all. Observe who or what needs attention or a solution, and offer your assistance in your own quiet or discreet way. So I kind of feel like I can relate to weasel because, you know, in some of my shamanic work, it's easy to kind of pull back and get like the raven's eye view of the bird's eye view of the world. And when you get up close, like weasel can see, you know, the seedy underbelly of humanity. And when we like to think that when we get too close to it, we become like it and judge it. But when we're up here in this bird's eye view, we can all appreciate everybody for being in their place, in their stage of being human. And I likened this to, you know, again, this trial that I went through this week, where this guy who made, in his absolute arrogance and in lack of integrity and his sense of entitlement, he really truly embodied that toxic masculinity that's really coming forward in our culture right now. That I was able to look at this guy at first, you know, when I was being triggered by him, it was really heavy and it was really hard. But towards the end of the trial, when they sentenced him to 80 years in prison, it was like, I witnessed this man right before my eyes humble himself. And whether that really is his spiritual, literal come to Jesus moment, it took away any real vindictive satisfaction of, yes, they put this guy in prison for 80 years. You just look at, like, weasel is that kind of energy where you look at, like, this was some really a terrible side of humanity, but this is truthful. This stuff really happens. And I kind of think that's why Trump has come to light, to show there's some stuff going on that's really truthful. This is really happening. And it doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It's just the truth. And so those of us who are in this light working environment, we have to stay in that bird's eye view of believing that the brokenness of the world isn't because it's all broken. it's just a part of life. Does that make sense? So anyway, I felt like I had to explain. A weasel is perfect energy, the essence of that. Like just kind of seeing things. They may not be really good right now, but when you see them for the truth that they are and accepting them and knowing that it just is the way it is. Not good, not bad. It could feel bad if you let it, if you put a lot of meaning making around some stuff, but just give yourself some comfort to that. Especially if you're particularly saddened and feeling overwhelmed and frustrated by a lot of things in the news, you know, with all these shootings, all of, you know, everything is happening to bring us to light, to literally bring us to light. Everything in the dark will come to light. And while it's shining light on that, the seedy side of things, we may get a glimpse of stuff we've never seen before, and it doesn't look good and it doesn't make us feel good. But it has to go through that to get to the higher level. So I've had to make myself remember that this week. You know, as much as I wanted to like really hate this man, he was still a human being. And if we, you know, and he did some very terrible things to these girls. Those of you who may not know what I'm referring to, I was in a trial this week for an attorney in San Antonio who trafficked prostitutes off the street in exchange for sex. And he has many other open indictments, but he got 6 counts of 80 years in prison for his actions. He was basically extorting sex from these girls. Even though they were prostitutes, they felt that if they didn't give sex to this man, he would put them in jail, basically. He would pull their bond and they'd go to jail. And so I really watched my own, I guess, transformation from really being pissed off and triggered and angered by his behavior towards these girls, especially because I knew them. Many of them I knew from the jail, and they are very flawed females in their own selves and their humanity. I've known them, you know, working in the jail. They created a whole bunch of headaches for me as the floor sergeant most of the time, you know, creating, you know, fights inside the units and whatever. So I knew them too. Most of these girls, I knew them on some level. One of them I knew very well. She started coming to jail for when she was 18, and she's now 28 and was a complainant in this case. And her situation was particularly heartbreaking, just because I've known her for so long. But it's that essence of, you can see a lot of stuff. When you're somebody who's like Weasel, who's able to see the seedy side of life and understand humanity in that way, not to lose your own humanity. So on that note, an hour and a half later, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for tolerating my spaciness with my migraine, and it looks like I'm having one big huge hot flash in here. And I'm really enjoying my peppermint oil and my lavender oil. If you do not use essential oils, they're very helpful. You may not think, oh, they're not as powerful as this huge pharmaceutical thing, but I think most of us here understand the beauty behind essential oils and everything I'm talking about anyway, or you wouldn't be here. Thank you guys so much. And I wish I could get to everybody. I'm trying to find a way to be more efficient. I can be long-winded, and I thank you guys so much for staying with me this long, and thank you again, and enjoy your week. Let me know how turkey buzzard energy, that being intelligent and cautious and seeing everything for what it is and swooping down only when you need to. That's kind of the turkey buzzard energy for this week. And all the other animal essence. If you feel an animal is really speaking to you, let me know, and we'll talk about that next week too. So coming up, this one last announcement before I go. This coming week, I will be doing the conversations about the universe, because last week I was stuck in that trial and I couldn't get to it. I'm sorry I missed it this week. But there's one weekend in May where I'm going to have to either do the card pull party like super early, or I'm going to have to skip it. And I don't really want to skip it. Would you prefer I do it on a Thursday in lieu of Conversations About the Universe, or I can do it on Monday night because I have training literally all weekend. It's like the weekend of May 5th and 6th. So I think it's Sunday the 6th. You let me know, and we got a little bit of time to figure it out. So you let me know what works best, Thursday night or Monday night, because I'd rather just be able to do it instead of skip it. So love you guys. Thanks for being here. Enjoy the rest of your night. I am going to go watch The Walking Dead as it comes out in an hour and a half. So love you all. Bye.